Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. And I think are there dueling live streams going on again today? I made a little bit of mistake when I was starting the last live stream, or like when I was getting this one scheduled for today. I hit the wrong button. And so I think I may have made a duplicate or something like that. I'm not sure. But clearly, if you're watching this, you're in the right spot now. And hey, if you were in the other one, or if you see another one that's out there, and you saw other people in there, hop back over there real quick and let people know that that's the wrong one. If you could do that for me. Yeah, Martha says she pronounced the other one dead in the comments. Yeah, I think that one would have started like an hour ago. I mean, I don't think I started it though. I don't remember starting it. I don't know. So I'm not sure how some of this stuff works a lot of the time. But if you're hearing me, you're in the right one. But I guess, like, obviously, you'd be in the right one if you're hearing me. The other one, I don't know. I guess I've been pretty late before, so sorry, guys. All right. Let's have everyone listening in on the podcast today. Hopefully having a good run. My run today in Chicago was cold and hot at the same time. It's weird weather here. It's cold air, but humid, super humid, very foggy. So, like, I went out and ran in half tights today and a long sleeve. And I saw other people out there in split shorts and tank tops. And like all of us were dressed wrong, I feel like. And all of us were dressed right. It was just a weird day. So hopefully wherever you're running when you're listening to this, you're not running into that kind of weather and you're much more comfortable. And everyone watching this on YouTube later after the fact, hopefully it's a nice relaxing part of your day. Or maybe you're just hopping onto the treadmill or onto a bike trainer. And hopefully you're having a good one. All right, let's see who else we got in the chat besides Martha in here. I got Naeem Harab says bonsoir. Good evening. Pete G just got back in from a 5-mile run. Felt tired and went when he went, but feels amazing now. There you go. It's always nice when that happens, isn't it? Luis Becerra says, is this the Twilight Zone? Which one is the real live stream? Yo, what's going on? This is the right one. You guys are here. Ed Chan said, this one is for the cool kids. All right. Ines is here as well. Says, hi, Kapuzi and everybody. And Sean Devlin's here. Says, legs are feeling dead from yesterday's run, so opted for a quickie on the Peloton. There you go. You know, I've never done Peloton before. My sister has she calls it the pandemic pack because she's got the bike and the tread. She's got both of them at her house. And I checked out her setup, which was pretty nice. And I just never hopped on it for some reason. Maybe I should have. Maybe I will next time I'm back there. All right. Runner Will says, what's good, everyone? Kapuzi, it's great to see you again, man. Ben and Sarah are as authentic in person as they are on the tube. He really wanted to know things. Awesome. Well, it's good to see you again, Will. I met Will in person in New York when we did the shakeout with Emily Heller. So it was good to see Will again. And you know what? Did I tell you guys? I told you guys. I tried to get Emily to come. I invited her. Not that she needed an invitation to come, but I invited her and to see if she was going to be available. I know getting over from Long Island can sometimes be tricky. But she said you had to work on that day. So hopefully I'll get to see her again soon. But yeah, it was good to see people. You know what? As I do more and more of these, I'm seeing people again and again. Like I saw Will again for the second time in a completely different city. Well, I guess not a completely different city. Last time was Central Park. This was Brooklyn. But several months apart. And then when I was down in DC for Cherry Blossom, I met people that I had seen like at CIM and then down in DC and just even at the Brooklyn half afterwards at the race. There used to be this guy that I would see every day. I don't know his name. And I don't know if he knows who I am. But like I would see him, like I mean, in terms of like, I don't think he knows. He doesn't know me from my YouTube channel. But I would see him every day running. He's like about my age, a runner. We were running about the same time, and we were always going like the opposite direction. And we just, would wave every single day. One day he just disappeared, and I know my schedule's changed a bit, so I thought that's what it was. But I'm standing in line getting a beer at the after party for the race, and he comes up. And he goes, "Hey, it's good to see you again." And I'm like, "Hey," and I'm just like couldn't put it together right away. And he's like, yeah, I used to see you all the time in Chicago, but then I moved to Brooklyn and now I'm here. This is my first time running this race. And I was like, and then it clicked. I was like, what a small world. What a really small world. And running helps make it smaller for sure. All right. We got some people. Where'd it go? From the Czech Republic. David Musel coming in from the Czech Republic. Awesome. Welcome. Lou Klein says, yo, what's up? And Andrew Escobedo says, hi, everyone. I'm feeling like Sean today, too. I'm in my running gear looking at my Peloton and thinking that might be the choice for this rainy day. You know, I took it as a nice thing for me, though, Andrew, is that it was supposed to be raining all day today. And it actually did rain a little bit on the way to school this morning, dropping off the kids. But then by the time I got back, it stopped raining. So I was like, that's a sign I got to get out there. Because I got like I feel like I got a little window. Tomorrow might be raining all day. This afternoon it's going to start raining and maybe some thunderstorms. So I'm like, I'm going to get out there and get it. But whatever you do, Andrew, I'm sure you'll make the right choice. All right. All right. Kelly Ryan says, I guess there are both pockets of cool wind and warm winds at the same time, making dressing right very tricky. Yeah. I mean, when I took the kids to school, I was cold because we were getting rained on, and I had like longer pants on, like full length like track pants, and then a raincoat on, a warmer raincoat, not like a winter raincoat, but like a warmer raincoat, and I was still chilly, so I was like, I'm gonna be cold out there. I think I would have been fine. I think I probably could have run with a singlet or even with no shirt on today and probably still been fine. But I was also in long sleeves and I was still kind of fine-ish. I was really sweaty by the time I got back, but just a weird day. I think definitely the weather is changing. It's been chilly here and it's going to get warm. But I think hopefully we'll get some rain because it's uncomfortably humid right now. Adam wants to know, like, did you talk about your kids about Uvalde? I did not. Yeah, I don't know. It was really tough. My wife and I were up real late last night watching all the stuff that was happening about it, and I was just watching a lot of that stuff on TV now. Governor Abbott just put on a press conference, which was pretty infuriating. I guess depends on your perspective on it. But yeah, we didn't really talk about it today. I didn't really know what to say yet. I'm sure they're going to hear about it today. I'm pretty sure they do active shooter drills in their school. I'm not sure about that, but I'm pretty sure that they do. But like, we didn't talk about it to the kids last night, and we didn't talk about it to the kids this morning. And I didn't want to be like, oh, by the way, like, I mean, those kids in that school, that's my daughter's age. People are like, oh, these children, they were just babies. They're 10. They were 9. Those aren't babies. Those are children with very developed personalities and already having hopes and dreams, And I didn't want to be like, oh, hey, by the way, some kids yesterday, like an entire classroom was mowed down. Like, I don't know, what do you do with that? And just like send them off. Like, I didn't know how to handle it. So I'm sure they're going to hear about it today. And I probably should have at least said something so that they're not, because then I'm leaving it to like what their classmates are going to say. But I don't know. It just makes me think like all these things always happen with a specific type of weapon. And I know that, assault weapons bans are difficult from a legal perspective to enact. But just how about just start with one gun at a time? Just that one. You can buy all the other different assault weapons you still want to. But that one, let's stop that one because that one seems to be a favorite. So let's start with that. One at a time. Let's do something. I don't know. I just don't know how to talk to my kids about it yet. So we'll probably say something about it. So we'll see. Bunny G says I live 45 minutes from there. RIP and prayers up to all the families. Yeah, Yeah, it's hard. I mean, like, and yesterday when they were talking about the parents having to do DNA samples, my wife and I instantly were like, oh boy, man. All right, let's change the subject, because I've been, I have a problem with being like glued. I love the news. Ever since I watched Channel 1 in junior high school, which is not that much older than the age of the kids in Uvalde, but ever since I saw like Lisa Ling and Wolf Blitzer on Channel 1, I've always kind of become a news junkie. But I'm trying to watch a lot less of it. But yesterday I was glued and maybe not great. So I need to take a break. All right. Luis says Jordan Thomas did the Carlsbad 5000. Oh man, that would have been fun to see him race. Luis says, why did I not go and see the race? Definitely do it next year. I definitely want to do that one next year too. That's definitely. I mean, that's one I've been wanting to do for like good 2-3 years now. Maybe longer than that too. Hold on, I gotta take the lid off of this. You know what I've realized is that this little sipper thing on the top of my coffee mug is really great for keeping the coffee hot over throughout the day. But when you usually really want to drink a lot of coffee fast, it really gets in the way. So, today's a drinking coffee faster kind of day. All right. Z Tone Cold. I think that's supposed to be Stone Cold, but it's with a Z. Says, hey, I got the More version 3 based on everyone's recommendation, but the midsole feels a bit stiff. Is there a break-in period on these, or is my expectations of squishy too much? I don't really recall there being a break-in period on mine. So if you're not liking it, it might be worth taking back and returning it and trying to get something else instead. Because I pretty much felt what it felt like right away. It just might not be agreeing with your foot strike, or maybe like what your thoughts of are squishy or a little bit different. So, I do think that the More version 3 kind of got better as like the footbed kind of molded to your foot a little bit more. But I mean, like if you're not loving it like right away, I think that might be a signal that that's not going to be the best shoe for you. So that might be something to switch up. Naeem Arab says, my wife hates it when it rains on the weekend. She knows it's such bad weather. That motivates and makes me go out for a long trail run every time. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. My wife always likes to point out that I am very drawn to doing things that are unnecessarily extreme. And so like, running in bad weather, running in really cold weather, that kind of thing. She knows that I enjoy that kind of stuff. So I can relate. David Musil said, today my first run in the Puma Liberate Nitro. Bought them after my Rebel 2 ripped and couldn't find another pair in my country. The Puma felt pretty good. I feel like that's a good pairing, those two. If you were like out of the Rebel 2 and you want to try something else, or you can't find another one, the Liberate Nitro I felt like was a lot like the Rebel 2, except I felt like it was a little bit more kind of like raw. You know what I mean? Like I felt like the Rebel 2 had kind of like more polish to it. It felt like a more refined shoe. And then the Liberate was just like, we've got like a pretty thin upper on here. We've just got outsole, midsole, and we're just going to let you have it, So it felt a little bit more kind of like, not basic's not the right word, but like more of a pure experience in a way. But it meant also some of the edges weren't softened on it. So metaphorically speaking, but it was a fun shoe. I felt like it was a little bit more speed oriented than the Rebel was. Stone Cold says, thanks, Co. Yes, the Stone Cold with a Z is for Stone Cold Steve Austin and has been my username since the 90s when the cool thing to do was to press S's with Z's. I'm old. That's so funny. Oh, that's really funny. I love it. I love it. Funny. Luke Klein says, I got the movie Dune on in the background. Yawn. I do love the cinematography of that movie. It definitely has a feel to it for sure. But like sometimes the pacing I think gets to me as well. But overall, I'm really looking forward to seeing like the next one, because I feel like they've only really just started telling the story at this point. That's why I felt a little bit disappointed. Like it was it left me unsatisfied at the end. Mark Ingham says he's going to go to Vancouver next weekend for my birthday week. Awesome. Happy birthday. And looking forward to lighting up my Strava heat map in Vancouver. Very cool. That's awesome. I've never been to Vancouver. I've been to Seattle several times, but not to Vancouver. Bunny G says, on a good note, I've been running in the Nimbus 24 as my daily and the Light 3 for my Sunday long, slow distance, 18 miles, and I'm loving the combo. Great. Can't wait for the new Magic Speed. Yeah, I still haven't heard very much about the Magic Speed at all. But here's what happened when I got the Nova Blast 3. I got the Nova Blast 3 because they were like, I think there's a couple other things going on with that too. But like North America, I think is driving a lot of kind of the pre-publication stuff on that one, or the pre like launch stuff on it. And so they were like, so they were like, well, we get to decide. Um, the shoe was getting leaked already, so we decided we'd just give some to the reviewers. So that's why like Brandon over at Believe in the Run got a pair because they had one in his side, and I got one because they had one in my size that were left. The Magic Speed is also getting leaked like crazy, and it looks amazing. I'm super excited for it. It looks exactly like the Metaspeed Sky Plus. Or I don't know if it's more like the Edge Plus. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it that closely. And there's so many colors that it's going to come out in. I'm not sure what it's going to come out with at launch. I'm guessing the Eugene colorways, but I'm very excited for it. It'll be interesting to see if it's going to be like last year, where it's going to be basically like a plated Evo ride, or if it starts to take on a life of its own now. Based on the design, it looks like it's going to be a departure from the Evo ride. So I'm excited for that one. But I don't know anything about it. I haven't been told anything about it yet. But yeah, I wore the Nimbus Light, or the Nimbus Light 3s. Well, for most of the weekend last weekend. I traveled in them, very comfy for travel, but also using it casually, but also doing some running in. And then the Nimbus 24. The Nimbus 24 is a shoe that, like, every time I think about it, I'm like, if only it didn't have that 4-foot gel, I would have really enjoyed it a lot more. But that is a good combo. I feel like that's a good 1-2 punch to go with. Although what's interesting is I would switch it around, for me personally, because I do feel like the Nimbus 24, not including the gel, feels like the softer shoe that I might want to have for that long, slow distance. And then the Light 3 I'd want for the everyday. But I don't think that's wrong. I could see it going the way that you're doing it too. Makes a lot of sense. Sean says, if I like the Nimbus Lights, will I take the Magic Speeds? I'm not sure. I don't know. I mean, for this year, like the ones that are coming up, I really don't know. I'm not sure. I can't wait. I mean, I don't even know what the foam is. I don't know if they've changed the plate or if it's still going to be like that half plate, I'm really curious. I can't wait to try it. Miss CMR80 says, hello, I went to a Hoka Triumph yesterday and got to run 5K in the Rocket X. Felt very nice, but one guy twisted his ankle. Ooh, that's a bummer. That's always hard when something like that happens. Yeah, and from like an event organizer perspective, it's got to be just like, oh man, I hope the guy's all right. But yeah, I love the Carbon X3. Was it the Carbon X3 or was it the Carbon X2? I've been really enjoying the Carbon X3. I don't really think it's a marathon racer, but I do think it's one of those shoes that is really great for people that want to use their like one shoe for everything. You could run every day in it. You could do workouts in it. You could race your marathon in it. I don't think it's ideal on those other sides of the spectrum, like the racing an entire marathon or running like 10 miles easy like that. Neither of those would be perfect, but definitely doable in all of those shoes. So it is a good one. But I think with the knit upper, it could be a problem. But I would also say, like, as far as like ankle stability goes, other than maybe like the Hyperion Elite 2, I know the Hyperion Elite, is that 3 out? Can people buy it? I know CJ Albertson ran in one at Boston, but I don't know if that's out yet. But other than like that shoe, I don't think there's a more kind of stable marathon shoe. Not sure. Ooh, Andrew. What's going on, Andrew? He says, they moved Race Judicata to June this year. I just found out. Is my only 5K plan for 2022, and there's not a lot of time to attempt a PR shape. Ooh. Oh, it's in June? Oh, man. That's a race that I wanted to run last year, and then the dates didn't work out for me. For those of you who aren't in the Chicago legal community, Race judicata is a legal pun, but it's a 5K that lawyers put on, and it goes to like it raises a lot of money for charity. And there's a couple of different divisions. There's like an open 5K division, and then like a lawyers division, and then also a staff, like a non-lawyers division. I'd love to be able to show up and like I mean, and the times are usually pretty fast, for a bunch of lawyers. Um, so like to I mean, people that are winning it are running like 16 to 17 minute 5Ks. So that's not messing around. So what I would love to do is to be able to go back one day, having since, in air quotes, retired from my legal-ish job, and go and throw down one day. So I always kind of keep it on the calendar. And my running buddy always does it. His firm always puts a team together. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll hop on his firm's team one time. I'll be a ringer for his firm team. I think that'd be kind of fun. So I would like to do that. Innes Dunbar says, there is a bike shop called Dunbar Cycles in Vancouver. If I ever get there, I'm buying a t-shirt. That's awesome. Is anyone in Vancouver in here in the chat? I mean, Mark's going next week. I mean, maybe he could hook you up. I don't know if that wouldn't quite be the same if you didn't go get it yourself, though. Seatown Fans here says, hi, Mike and all. What's going on, Seatown? Randon Lewis says, do you ever train for middle distance? Like an 800 meter? I mean, like middle distance for me is like a 5K. So, I mean, a 5K feels like a sprint to me, to be honest. So like, yeah, like, but I'm assuming you mean middle distance, like 800, 1500. I haven't run an 800 since about 1995. So it's been a long time. And I've never run a 1500. I've only run 1600 meters, as far as like a track race. So, yeah, so I've never trained for it. I'd like to do, I keep thinking about it in some of these. I was thinking about it this year. The Indoor Masters Championship was like in March. Or maybe it was like late February. And I was thinking like, I really don't want to do like a 3,000 meters indoors, like on a 200 meter track. That's going to just feel like it takes forever. So I was thinking, well, maybe I'll do a 1500 meter. Maybe I'll do an 800. I thought maybe I'll switch it up, try something different. But I've never really trained for that since high school. Mrs. CMR80 says, question, aiming for a 4:30ish marathon this fall. Shoe recommendations? Looking at Puma, Hoka, and Nike, but I don't think I'm fast enough for anything carbon plated. I think that if you want to use a carbon plated shoe, I think that'd be fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So don't let anyone like shame you into not thinking that you deserve it or you don't deserve it. But also at 4.5 hours, that's where you kind of start thinking about like, carbon plates are great, but also like you're going to be on your feet for a little bit. So some of those are some other things to kind of like, countervailing, considerations sometimes. And so, from Puma, I'm thinking like the DV8 Nitro. It does have a carbon plate in it, but it's not like the Racer. The Nitro Elite is more of a racing shoe, but the DV8 Nitro was a shoe that I used for a lot of long runs. It does have carbon in it, but it was also pretty comfortable to wear for a long time. From Hoka, for a 4.5 hour run, I'd probably be looking at the Clifton Mach 4 or the Rincon. I think all of those would be good options. And from Nike, I'm thinking probably the Invincible would probably be the one that I would look for most. Also, like you could look at the Tempo next. I've never run in that one, but I think that's also one that's worth considering, as well as the Alphafly. I feel like the Alphafly also would be a pretty good choice from those out of those three brands. So you have a lot of options for you there, though. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions about any of those. Logan Heffernan says, Mr. Shakeout this past weekend in Brooklyn. 2 weeks left before starting walk run. Tibial stress fracture. Okay. And we'll have to catch the next one. All right, Logan. Well, hopefully the next 2 weeks go by uneventfully for you and you get that tibial stress fracture taken care of. So, yeah, hopefully I will catch you on the next one. Let's see. C-Town fan says, I ran a 208 in high school. That was my best. I was trying to think about it the other day. I mean, 208 is pretty fast. I was trying to think about it the other day because when I was at the track meet in New York last weekend, I was like, what was my 200-meter time? And whenever I don't remember, I put at 43 at the end of things. So like, I'm pretty sure that like I don't remember my first marathon time, but I think it was like 4:43. That's what I have in my head. I don't think that's the right time. It might be 4:34, but like 43 is like a number that just keeps popping up. And when I think about my like fastest mile time, I think it's 5:43. I'm pretty sure that's not it either. I mean, that was from my high school. And then when I think about the 200, I was like, I think it's 2:43, but I'm like, no, that doesn't sound right. I want to say it was 2:18. I was never a fast guy, but like that also doesn't sound right. I'm like, that sounds a little bit quick for me. I mean, that's like 270-second quarters. I want to say that my 400-meter PR in high school was like 64, 62. So I wasn't, I don't think I was ever that fast. So I don't know. I have no idea what my times were. But a 208, I feel like is pretty good. I mean, for like normal people, New Betcher said, just an easy for and long neglected React milers for how well they work for easy runs. No, encouraging you to go faster like the Invincibles. I'm so confused by the React miler. Like it just seems I don't know. I saw 40's review, 40 runs, his review of the latest React miler. He seemed to think it was a really hot shoe. And to me, it always looked like remnants from all other shoes kind of slapped together. But I know there's some people that love it. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. Steven C says, you could certainly PB a mile sub 5:30 easy. Well, I was going to try it out at the Tracksmith event that was supposed to happen, the Midnight Mile. Do you guys remember that? It was supposed to happen where Nick Willis was going to run it like at a stroke of midnight. And there was going to be community miles before that. And I was entered in the sub 5:30 because I was like, I think I could do a sub 5:30. But then that event got canceled because of Omicron. And then last week, I guess I could have hopped into a heat, but I didn't know if I was going to go, so I didn't want to sign up for it ahead of time. I wasn't sure I was going to go. I did buy a ticket ahead of time, but I was like, well, if I just don't show up, that's fine. That's one thing. But like, I don't want to sign up for a heat and then not go. That felt like a bigger thing to back out of. So I ended up just doing a workout that morning. But I think I could do. I think sub 5:30 might be tough, but I think I could do it. I might need an actual little bit of a taper. I don't think I could do it like in the middle of training, but like I think I'm there. But yeah. I don't know about easy either, Stephen, but I appreciate the confidence. All right, Nathaku says, hey, Cole, let's talk live. What TV shows are you watching or a movie you're looking forward to? I don't watch TV shows. Like, I don't know. I think that if I had like a Zwift setup, I'd watch more TV. Or if I had a treadmill, I'd watch more TV. I think I would just save all my TV watching for then. But otherwise, I'm always, if the TV's on, I usually have my phone in my hand too. And I'm like responding to comments or on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, so I usually don't watch stuff mainly because when I'm at home, well, I guess not during the middle of the day, but the middle of the day I'm working. So like if I put on a TV show, it gets too distracting and I can't work. And then if the kids are home, then a lot of the shows that I might want to watch, I don't necessarily want my kids to watch. So I don't really watch too many TV shows. I do listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts. Right now, I'm listening to Simu Liu's book. I think it's called An American Dream. Man, that book is good so far. It's really good. I mean, it's a really good like Asian American immigrant story. I think it probably applies to a lot of immigrants. Or kind of like he's I guess kind of a lot like I am, where I'm not first generation. Like I didn't immigrate, like I didn't choose to immigrate. My parents did, but I wasn't born here either. We came when I was like a little bit shy of 2 years old. And he came over, he moved to Canada with his family when he was like 4. So like it was a lot of similar. I mean, he's 10 years behind me, but like there was just a lot of there's been a lot of similarities in that. And he gets into it. He gets really into his like backstory, those years growing up in an intense way. So I was not expecting that at all. So I was out there on the lakefront path, and I'm just like, this is bringing up a lot of uncomfortable memories for me too. Oh boy, this is not what I was expecting. So it's pretty intense, and he's a pretty good writer. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been watching. In terms of movies I'm looking forward to, I'm not sure. I don't really look forward to a lot of movies anymore because I don't watch them right away. I usually watch, the only time I watch movies is either when I'm with my in-laws or when I am on an airplane. So I think I finally caught up on all the Godzilla movies. I love a good Godzilla movie on an airplane. It's just like the exact right amount of attention that I want to pay to something when I'm on an airplane. And I just saw Matrix Resurrections. So like, I'm trying to think if there's any other movies that I haven't seen. I think there's a lot of the Marvel movies that I just never end up seeing. That I can't keep up with any of the Spider-Man movies. There's just too many, too fast. But there's the other one with Doctor Strange. That one. I think I want to see that one. So, yeah. Adam says they should have more road miles. USATF Masters in Rochester last Saturday evening was part of a bike criterium event. There's a downhill mile on July 4th. Set my PR there 16 years ago. Yeah, I agree. There should be more road miles. I think that's like a fun event to do. I do think it's weird that the USATF Masters in Rochester is part of a bike event. That's a little bit strange. All right. But yeah. Dennis Cheek says, YouTube, good vibes. Which one to buy? Kofuzi Run Club, H9 or H10, running and cycling? As far as I remember from the two, the main difference between them, I'm trying to think. The main difference is like onboard memory. So if you're going to do it like without your phone or without like a bike computer and you just want to make sure you still have your heart rate, that's like a big difference of it. And I want to say that there's something with heart rate variability. I think it could, you need the H10 to do the heart rate variability tests, which are a little bit more accurate in terms of the way they do those tests than just the heart rate variability metrics you get during your sleep. So that might be something I'm trying to remember. But for most people, a vast majority of people just get the H9. But unless you're really looking for those specific extra features, then H10. But probably H9. Martha says, we fully expect to see a Geigen Kofuzi at the end of a mile race. Oh yeah, I mean, a mile race is probably something that I might actually vomit at the end. For sure. I mean, sometimes I can make myself like do a little bit of a dry heave just thinking about a hard workout or running a road mile, for sure. I can't keep it down, I guess. C-Town fan says, yeah, the high school girls are now getting down to 2 minutes for the 800. Of course, the Thingmo won gold at 19, and she is amazing. Yeah, I mean, pretty incredible time. I mean, I had so many conversations with people at the track meet over the weekend about like just how incredibly fast high school times are. And it just doesn't seem like sustainable. It's like, I feel like it's going to be one of those things where, like some records get set and it's like a really long time before that ever gets broken. I feel like we're at a time I just don't feel like the times are going to keep getting chopped down. I mean, maybe that's just my lack of imagination, but I just feel like this is going to be like, we're going to look back on it and be like, remember like around like 2020 to 2020, like the 2021 Olympics to 2024 Olympics, just the times from some of the young track stars were incredible. And those are records that like haven't been touched in 10 years. I feel like that's what's going to happen. But I mean, I could be completely wrong on that. Duke BB says, I was at a local sporting goods store last night, and they said they're getting 10 more pairs of the Bondi 7s in his size. The 8s must not be coming out for a while. I'm trying to think if I've seen the Bondi 8. I don't know. I wonder if it's a supply chain issue. I just think that releases are getting all sorts of weird. But if they're getting 7s, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure how that works. Trying to think of when did I review. I feel like I always review the Bondi in the summer, later summer. So it just might not be time for it to come out yet. I want to say I reviewed it in July, maybe August. I can't remember. Casey says, "Yo, went back and recently watched some of your math vlogs. Are you glad you did math? Would you do it again?" Yeah, I think I would do it again. I think, yeah, because the only thing that I don't like about it now is that I've been kind of like in perpetual marathon training blocks for like the last couple of years. And so I feel like I haven't had a good time to reset and rebuild. And so like one of the things that I realized for me is I can do Maffetone or low heart rate training, but I also need to do a lot of race specific training too. And some people might think that's not Maffetone at all. I think the way that Maffetone looks at it is, you do all low heart rate running, but some people do like to race like every weekend, like 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons. And I'm like, that sounds kind of like race specific training to me. But whatever you want to call it, most of my runs are at my low heart rate. My warm-ups and cool downs are at my low heart rate. And then I have a couple of workouts every week that I do. And so I'm still kind of doing it, but having a good like several month block where you can try to just reset, I think was helpful for me to do. I think that it enabled me to be able to build up a lot more mileage and also intensity in that mileage too. So I just feel like it, I had to kind of like break everything down and reassemble it before I could really progress any further. So I'm not sure how much better I could have gotten continuing to do what I had been doing. Maybe I could have. Maybe I could have gotten better faster. Who knows? But I feel like this is a much more sustainable way of building my running. And I also just feel like, I understand my body a lot more. And I also feel like when it comes to like higher mileage, longer weeks, longer runs, I just feel a lot more confident because I just feel like I'm a much stronger runner. So I think for me, it was a really good thing to do. It was a weird kind of like, it was a weird path to take, but I feel like I got there. Mr. Random says that the Myler is a good shoe. Very good slow shoe, yes, a bit warm, but nice, easy day and recovery shoe. See, that's the thing that's confusing about it though, but it's called the Myler. So I feel like this is supposed to be a shoe that Mylers like. Is that right? Like I don't like if they called the shoe a marathoner and like it was really firm and you only used it for like track workouts, if it was like a track flat basically, that would seem weird, right? So like the Myler shoe should be something that like what does a Myler need, like a recovery shoe? I mean, I know Mylers still run recovery runs, and like from interviewing other milers before, they'll run 80, 90 mile weeks at the peak of their career. At least the pros do, So I mean, it's not like they're not running, but I don't know. I get very confused by the way it's named and kind of how it's set up. Yeah, Adam says, where'd it go? Perpetual training mode leads to burnout. Build in a reset. For sure. I was going to have a little bit of a reset in a way. So the way I had originally had my calendar set up was to go from CIM to Black Canyon, just running all low heart rate, gradually increasing mileage to get ready for a 100K race, and maybe doing a little bit of kind of like hill type of work and preparation. But for the most part, just doing lots and lots of easy miles. And then like Tokyo got put on the calendar instead. And so that kind of, set off a chain reaction. So I think what I'm going to do is after grandmas, it might not be like a pure like maffetone or low heart rate period, but like I'm gonna try to stay as unstructured as possible from like June until probably like about August, because then I gotta start getting ready for Chicago. So like, and Chicago's not gonna be an A race, so like I really probably don't even need to start thinking about Chicago until about maybe September, as long as I'm running, which I'll still be running, but in terms of like structure, you know. Vukine says, "Do I do any trail running? Not as much as I'd like to, I'd say, but a little bit. Because I have a bunch of shoes that I'd love to finish up testing in terms of getting to the long, like the 100-mile point. I'm like 85 miles into the Adidas Ultra Trail Agravic or Agravic. I don't know how to say that one. And then I'd like to run more in the Peregrine 12, the Peregrine 12. I also have like the Speed Goat 5 that I'd like to be able to log more miles in. I just, between like wanting to do some marathon training and not living near the most fun trails, it makes it harder to get out there as much as I want. Steven says, "Hola, how old is the oldest shoe that you still run in from time to time? Do shoes have an expiration date?" I don't think shoes have an expiration date, but like a general rule that someone at a like running retail store told me was, if you can't remember when you bought it, it's probably time to replace it. Because the irony is like the petrochemicals that go into midsole foams will last almost forever in a landfill. But in terms of being able to perform as intended, I think that there is a bit of a shelf life. For example, like even if you had like a temperature controlled shoe from 20 years ago, I still think that I'm not sure that I'd really want to run in it. I mean, I guess if it was like in a humidor, it'd probably be fine. But, like just age of a shoe impacts the shoe. And so, the other thing is with most people, I don't know what your running's like, Steven, or like which the shoe you're talking about is, but for a lot of people, when they're like, oh, like I haven't run that much in it and it's not that old of a shoe, I think I got it a year ago, I think I could probably still run in it. For most people, that means they've probably also been wearing it around casually a lot, and they may have logged, hundreds of hours of standing and walk time in it too, which is also going to negatively impact the shoe too. So like, for me, like the oldest shoe that I'll run in from time to time, I get rid of shoes. Oh man, I don't know why we lost the camera already. That was really early to lose the camera. Let's go to the laptop camera real quick. All right. So for me, like I usually have to get rid of shoes like relatively soon because I just don't have space in my house. So after 100 miles, I'll get rid of it. I consider a shoe pretty much not dangerous, but like, risky to run in after about 275 to 300 miles. I know that's on like the early side for most people, but I'd rather leave 50 miles in a shoe than, be like, ooh, no, I feel like I kind of have shin splints today. So that's kind of how I feel about it. So like if you're not sure, go for another run. And if you feel great in it, then it's fine. But if you don't, then I'd say probably try some new shoes. Name Harib says, weight vest and running, yay or nay? I've never done weight vests for running, but I used to run commute all the time, so it'd have about like 10, 15 pounds on me for the vast majority of my runs. I think it's fine. I don't think there's any problem with it. I don't think people really need to do it to train. If you want like to get more bang for your buck, and be like kind of like think of it like a strengthening modality, I would say do plyometrics rather than running with a weighted vest on. So that's kind of where I would shift your attention a little bit. Terry says, as far as old shoes goes, when you could smell them before you enter the room, the time has come to change. You know what's funny is a lot of times when I do test how breathable a shoe is, if it's wintertime, if it's summer, I can tell how breathable a shoe is by how hot my feet felt. But in the winter, sometimes you can tell how breathable a shoe is by how cold your feet felt. But like at a certain point, your feet are just going to feel cold. And so another way to test breathability is to actually breathe through it. So I'll take the shoe and like through the toe box to see how easy it is to breathe through it. I don't always do that, but every once in a while I'll breathe through the shoe. to see how it goes. All right. I think that's a good place to leave it for today, guys. Tomorrow, I think we'll have a video tomorrow on the Polar Pacer Pro, this watch that I've been running in for, I think, about a month now. And then, but if not, we might not either, because tomorrow I take my drone exam, which I've been studying for a lot lately. So wish me luck for that tomorrow. I'll be taking the test at 9 a.m. local time. I got to go downtown to take it. It'll take a couple hours, but then after that, I should be back in time to do another live stream. It'll be happy hour. So feel free to join with your recovery beverage of choice. So hopefully I'll see you then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.